So Caitlin Clark has been beat up this entire year. And look, Caitlin Clark is not the only WNBA player that's been beat up the entire year. An awful lot of them have. Heck, like, they literally targeted Skylar Diggins yesterday in the Seattle Storm against the Phoenix Mercury game, because obviously she's had a falling out with the Mercury and their leader Diana Taurasi. But yeah, so it's not like, for people being like, oh, WNBA is a tough league, people just can't understand that. It's like, well, it's not even a tough league. Like, I'm making another video later on today about this. Like, it is violence. The WNBA actually is a violence problem. But anyway, that is not the point of this video. Before you know, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. I'm so thankful for all the support on the channel recently. We're on 6.1k, which is nuts. Thank you guys so much for all the support. So there is a player looking to join the Indiana Fever, and this is somebody that is one of the greats for the WNBA. This is a player that is legitimately one of the best in a long time. A first overall pick, a 5-time All-Star, a 2-time All-WNBA first team, and 7-time All-Defense. That player is McCoughtry. Why is she not in the league at the minute? I mean, she's 37 years old. She'll be nearly 38 years old by the time the season finished. Like, she is on the older side. She hasn't been in the league since 2022, although in 2020, I know it was 4 years ago, she was one of the main players for the Aces in the playoffs, and that was a team with Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, and AJ Wilson. She was one of the best main players on that team, and she averaged like 15 a game in the playoffs in the bubble, although it has been 4 years since then. And she has come out on record to state that she would love to go back and play for the Indiana Fever. She's trying to get back in the league. And I mean, she did kind of struggle in 6 games with the Lynx in 2022, 2 years ago. And there's look, she's out of the league probably for a reason. And it is really her way of trying to get back in the league. She's basically just said, I'll protect Caitlin Clark. She's basically come out and said that. And it's like, if I need to get back in the league, I'll do that. I'll protect Caitlin Clark. And I actually think this is not a bad shout. I think this genuinely is not a bad shout for even just this team in general. Because McCoughtry is one, she's been out of the league for a while. 2, if she's just an enforcer, fair enough. 3, she's going to be a mentor. And that's one of the big problems especially when we look at basketball at the Detroit Pistons. Like, if you look at, let's just say the Thunder with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a lot of people credit Chris Paul's mentorship to why Shai Gilgeous-Alexander took as big of a jump as he did. To why he was, like, obviously he was always going to be good, but for why he has been great. A lot of people credit Chris Paul for that. So I don't think putting in an all-time great just on the roster, taking up a spot on the end of the bench and occasionally putting her in for a few minutes a game just to play defense is the worst thing in the world. Because, like, you've got Saxton. Saxton doesn't play. I'm sorry, she doesn't play. Like, Celeste Taylor, I would have thought was going to be, like, legitimately a good player. They don't play Celeste Taylor. And look, Dantas is she's just injured. She's injured. She might be injured for a long time. Just go and sign somebody. Do something. Just do something with the roster. Those two sitting on the end of the bench, not playing and bringing nothing for the team means nothing. And this is a team who literally let Vivians go to sign Katie Lou Samuelson. Like, I'm sorry, what? Like, we've seen from the Seattle Storm, Vivians is a good starter for a really good team. She's tough. She plays defense. She's exactly what the Indiana Fever need, and they let her go. Like, it is borderline incompetence from their GM, borderline incompetence from their front office. But this one actually makes sense. Like, she was an unbelievable defensive player in her prime. She was an unbelievable player in her prime, a first overall pick, one of the best players of the last 15 years. Bringing her back in the league is not going to be a bad thing, especially in a mentorship role. We've seen what Udonis Haslem has done for the Miami Heat. We've seen a lot of older players in the NBA stick around and basically mentor the players. And I understand there's only 12 roster spots, and you're like, okay, what's the point? If there was 15, it would be a bit different because some players are going to have to play. She can't be worse than Saxton. No offense, but like, every time I've seen Saxton, she's been terrible, and I know she hasn't gotten her chance. Celeste Taylor does not play. She does not play. Not even like 1 minute a game, unless it is a 30-point blowout. If she played 2 minutes in a 36-point loss, Like, what are we doing, Indiana? If you're not going to play these players, just fire them and at least give someone who brings something to the team. I think Celeste Taylor could be pretty good. She's been horribly mismanaged. Like, for me, I'm looking to go and trade her because I think there are teams that would like Celeste Taylor. I would trade her for a player that might fit. Call up Dallas, Lou Lopez, Seneschal. I think they'll give her up for literally anybody. And at least Lou will be one of, like, at least Lou with the open shots that Caitlin Clark is going to generate. He's going to be a 40% three-point shooter. A lot better than Kirstie Wallace anyway. It was terrible. But, like, we are looking here at a player who, in their peak, was a 22-point-a-game scorer for Atlanta. And even in that year for the Aces, shot 47% from three. Like, it was a good enough year. A good enough year, and I know it was a bubble. But, like, she averaged I know it was 2016, 32 points a game in the playoffs. I know it was a decade ago, but still, at least there's experience there. And I don't mind it. From the perspective of, like, team building and trying to get these players used to being in the WNBA, especially if things aren't going to change. Like, the WNBA has a violence problem, and if things aren't going to change, you at least need a vet. Even if you don't have, like, a Liz Cambage type enforcer. Like, Liz Cambage will not protect your teammates. She will use it to attack. She will use the free reign to attack people. But at least getting a vet on the team can't do any harm. It just can't do any harm to the team. They're a young team. The vets they have on their team, like Kelsey Mitchell's been in the league 6 years, wouldn't necessarily call her a vet, but fair enough if you want to call her a vet. And then you've got Erica Wheeler, who's just sucks. Like, Erica Wheeler's on the 7th highest contract in the league, and she's just not very good. So, why not? Why not bring someone in who cannot be that much worse than the players you have? But even if they are, they're at least going to be there in a mentorship role. They're at least going to be there and teach the younger players about what it's like to be a WNBA star. She's at least going to be there to, I don't know, to be the enforcer. To be the enforcer, as she said. She said she'd be Caitlin Clark's enforcer. But, look, if that's their way back into the league, fair enough. And if someone wants to be in the league bad enough that they're completely fine with just saying, you know what, I'll be the enforcer, I'll protect my teammate, then I'd say give her a shot. Give her a shot. On most teams, I would say no. But Christy Sides refuses to play her young players. And because of her refusal to even attempt to play her young players, I can't see any situation where they're going to play at any stage. I can't even, like, why not just bring her in? Honestly, why not? At this stage, look, it can't do any harm. This is a horribly constructed roster. This is a roster that is not equipped to win games. And for everyone saying it's Caitlin Clark's fault, if you take Caitlin Clark off this team, they may not win a game for the rest of the year. And I'm not joking.